Abstraction is a way to describe an application without going into detail on how each of the components will interact with each other. A sub-VI is an example of abstraction. Flowcharts are a good way to plan out the order of execution for our program. This flowchart represents the order of execution for our boiler controller. Ovals represent starting and stopping states, and the rectangles are processes that we will fully define later. Having this high-level overview of the system allows us to easily explain it to others, and also gives us insight into possible control errors early on. User stories are another form of abstraction. Throughout this course, we will implement several user stories as different parts of the boiler program. At the beginning of each exercise, we will simulate a sprint planning meeting where we will select a subset of user stories that we are going to implement. Part of your software design process involves communicating with your end users and figuring out how exactly they're going to use your software. One way to do this is through user stories structured in the following manner. As a user role, I would like functionality so that I have this desired outcome. For example, as a boiler operator, I want the user interface to remain responsive while the boiler operations occur, so that I can always shut down the boiler in the event of an emergency. These user stories can be abstracted out and compiled into a list to help decide on which architectures to use and to help maximize code reuse.
After the Scrum team completed the requirements document review, the product owner met with a customer representative to create a list of user stories. Each user story informally describes an aspect of the application from the perspective of the end users and what they need the application to do as part of their jobs. The product owner returns to the Scrum team with a list of user stories. This list of user stories serves as the product backlog for the development of this project. Each development sprint focuses on implementing one or more user stories. In this exercise, you will review this list of user stories to better understand the needs of the end user. Some user stories will be high-level or describe general application behavior. These stories may apply more toward architectural design than individual component or feature design. Other user stories will describe very specific interactions between the end user and the application.
You have completed this lesson. Here's a summary of what we covered.